control the journey of food through the digestion trail. Acid in the stomach, dissolves stainless steel. Over several hours, the stomach releases from you. From food to poo, and then down the loop. The epic odyssey of how to do. We grew and we endure so far as we break the food we eat apart. Climate is the small intestine that's 7 meters long. We soak up lots of nutrients that travels along. There are so many bacteria, a microbiome. They feed us what we don't want and call our gut home. Plus these peristalsis to push the food through, and when it goes to the anus, we call it food. All this time, bacteria are feasting and making gas before 1 liter a day. Out of mouth, from food to poo, and then down the loop. The epic odyssey of how to do. We grew and we endure so far as we break the food we eat apart. Grew and we become sewage once we flush it down from toilets and go away. Let's finish the stench was drowned. Now we have my favorite facts about who and we. Now your knees on rocks to keep away, please. Open minutes of peace. I know grouping and comfort like rock, ancient Romans used only to watch their frogs on that disputes and unknown 100 per night. Explosives and bodies and a light. From food to poo and then down the loop. The epic odyssey of how to do. We grew and we endure so far as we break the food we eat apart. In 365 days, the earth goes round the sun, and in that time of Mercury, all years are done, the planets rush to the sun, over really fast, as those far out complete their own little time is past. The force that keeps them all in orbit is gravity. The bigger the object, the bigger its full capacity. The moon circles the earth is smaller and gravity justifies, while Saturn's rings are made of gravity cooling ice. What is there in outer space? A question astronomers are trying to chase. Earth is wide going round and round, and beyond that, the kind of hell can be found. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, giant balls of gas, super mechanical, mostly gas, excess and mass. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are mostly rock, and lost all of them are rising up. What is there in outer space? A question astronomers are trying to chase. Earth is a planet going round the sun, a journey through the solar system's just begun. What is there in outer space? A question astronomers are trying to chase. Earth is a planet going round the sun, a journey through the solar system's just begun. We love who you are, exactly who you are. We love who you are, you are perfect to love. scary. Not everyone is truly straight or gay. There are people like me who fall the way. Sexual preference is a complex trait, and I realize that I'm not quite straight. I love who you are, be exactly who you are. We love who you are. You are perfect. Sexuality is not human, it's not about me. I don't need to. People like us show up now in series. Only on biology to love so series. I'm not raised on my to be something. I wrote the episode on what environment is thinking. There's so many options of sexuality gender. We should celebrate the little less. We love who you are. Exactly who you are.
The video. So they will. It was so much fun.
Historically, it's actually been really difficult to be queer in a workplace. It's something that you have to be ashamed of, something that you have to hide. And that wasn't that long ago that people felt that. There are still people that I work with currently that aren't open and proud about their identity at work.
When I first started work, I came back to the closet. I guess it's because it's a new environment for me. There was no queer people in my own team, so I wanted to protect myself.
When I did finally arrive in Australia, it was like I was free and I was so excited to be able to explore my sexuality and be as gay as possible. All queer has become essential and like a cornerstone of my queer awakening in Australia that I've always wanted.
At Out for Australia, we empower running Australia's largest career mentoring program, running regular events around the country, and through sharing stories and online content and through other forms of media.
I was actually named one of the 30 under 30 for 2022. I was in a room full of my people who had a shared sense of, pride.
Mingling with queer professionals who are doing really well in their careers, but also just regular old gay folk who talk about messy queer stuff.
I was a business director in an advertising agency. I worked pretty hard there. I found out the directors had decided that they told everyone, all my clients, that I had HIV. So I'm experiencing this stigma of HIV as a HIV negative person. And I was so ashamed. My sexuality had inspired such hatred. So I thought something that I was always cool with my whole life just became something that just inspired this hate from these people. Then I signed up with OFA and just just to be able to feel safe when you're working with kids. OFA is just a really safe place for me, and I feel like I can be authentically be myself here.
We spend a lot of time talking about how things are hard when we face discrimination, but there's also a lot of really beautiful stories to be told. My business, my well-being, my relationships are all better for me being my authentic queer self.
It's important that we connect with each other in a professional setting because we'll spend so much of our time in the workplace.
You know, it would have been so much easier for me had I had access to mentors and role models when I was understanding my own identity and how to bring that to not just the workplace, just into my everyday life.
The professional world can seem really foreign and really uncertain. I'm not really sure how I can, successfully run a job interview. I don't know how to ask for a promotion. I don't know how to negotiate a raise. I don't know how to dress properly. They're all things that I've never had to think about before. It's really daunting to figure out how to navigate all of these new social spaces and norms that you've never been introduced to before.
Mentoring is just a chat between two people. It is a chance for you to have dedicated time to talk about yourself, your career, your own issues, your successes, and be proud of what you've done.
I'm a mentee, and I've been on that journey for 2 years now, and it's been incredible for my own professional development. My mentor is just a wonderful human being, and it's someone who I wouldn't have connected with had it not been for the mentoring program.
My mentor really helped me with my imposter syndrome. So when I finally got into my career, a couple of years down the track, I decided to sign up as well and have absolutely loved the experience of being a mentor because it's really rewarding and you learn a lot about yourself and your practice through that.
OFA has allowed me to say yes to myself.
My queerness is my superpower.
I can just be my authentic self at work.
Partners provide us with a lot of support in delivering events, and a lot of our events are about creating networks for LGBTQIA+ people, and they're about providing skills to those people as well. So you're not only supporting people to come into your own organisation, you're also skill building the next generation of future leaders. Through partnerships with organisations like Out for Australia, you're signalling to students who might be a bit scared about going into the workforce that you do support LGBTQIA+ people. Because it's only through hearing people's stories and listening to community that you can properly support us.
Excuse me while I get my notes in order. I made a joke yesterday about needing to be a millennial and needing to highlight my stuff. I wasn't joking. They laughed at me. Good evening and welcome to Out for Australia's 30 Under 30 Awards, proudly supported by BCG. I would like to say welcome to all of the people who are joining us online across the country and especially those of you in the room here in Naarm. Nation, the traditional custodians of the land where we meet this evening and pay my respects to elders past and present. Sovereignty was never ceded and it was and always will be, say it with me, Aboriginal land. It is also Rosh Hashanah, so Happy New Year to the Jewish people in the audience and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Lacey Jade Christie, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your host for this evening. A little highlighted piece of paper says, introduce yourself. So here we are. I'm a body positive activist. I'm a little bit neurospicy and apparently now I'm also a professional MC. My mum said that I always said that I never met a microphone that I didn't like, so this makes sense. I also happen to be Out for Australia alumni. I was Deputy State Director in Victoria for a time and I was also CMO. So I am so grateful to be back in the room. And the thing about being an Out for Australia volunteer is you think you've shaken it off and you're like, my tenure is done. And then all of a sudden you're at World Pride watching G Flip at the front of the stage with Francis and half a dozen of other people in this room. And you just, it's really an organisation that goes with you forever. And I'm so grateful. A little bit of housekeeping. First of all, we have access to this level. This is level 52 and 51 throughout the event. You're welcome to use the stairs, which are just down there, which I'm sure most of you came up. But if you do need access to the elevator, you can find an Out for Australia volunteer and they have access to the lift passes. Excuse me for a second. Our Out for Australia volunteers can be identified by either their rainbow lanyards or they have, Francis, stand up for me please, I'm going to boss you around all night, I love it, the little charcoal name badges. So anything you need throughout the night, whether it's someone to talk to, if you're here by yourself, access to an area, just come and find them, not me. The doors to the building do lock at 7 p.m. So if for any reason you do need to leave the building and you would like to come back in, please find an Out for Australia volunteer so that they can let you back in. Unfortunately, we do have no Auslan interpreter tonight. There was a Deaf Arts Festival at the same time and people have priorities, which is completely understandable. So you can find, hopefully, via this QR code, some live captioning if you need it. And also if you're watching from home, you can use the QR code or click the link and it will take you to the captions. We have all gender bathrooms available on this level, level 52. So if you go down past the elevators and turn right, they are there. If you need an accessible bathroom, it is on level 51. In the same direction, just grab an OFA volunteer and they will swipe you through. The bathrooms have been labelled to let you know which have sanitary bins and which have urinals. So please use whichever you are comfortable with. We also have 2 quiet rooms available on level 51. You'll find me there after I finish this. Let it all go. They are called Birarung and Moomba, and they can be found downstairs just next to the reception desk. We also have 2 wellness coordinators throughout the evening. Francis, our CEO, stand up again, and Heather, who is our deputy CEO. They are your points of contact throughout the evening. They're also amazing. Heather's been bringing us drinks in the green room all afternoon. It's been fun. I am so excited to be here with you to celebrate Out for Australia's 30 Under 30 Awards. And to begin tonight's proceedings, I'm going to pass over to Daniel Ross to offer our welcome to country.
Unlike Lexi, I absolutely loathe the lectern. There's something about them that just seems too colonial. I don't know. My name's Daniel Ross, and I'm a Grabberungery man. The real reason I don't like a lectern, though, how do I invite people into my ancestors' home, my home, with a barrier in front of me, with the door closed? When we want to be inviting and invite people into our home, we don't do it behind closed doors. So it's important that I do it, not behind a barrier. I want to share my ancestors' story, my story with you all. And the sunrise over the east is going to be phenomenal. We're looking in the right direction. The windows are great in this building. I love it. Lexi did tell me I had 5 minutes too, so sorry, Lexi. Bunjil is our creator, the wedge-tailed eagle. Bunjil created everything we see, from the stars in the sky to the roots of the trees in the ground. Bunjil taught us how to listen, how to care. It was 2023. Guide us now. We've got a season called Porneet. You see, we've got 6 seasons. We don't have 4. And Porneet references when the wattle blooms. I was nervous this year because the wattle bloomed a month early. When the wattle blooms, we pause and we check in on our old people, our holders of knowledge, like a living library. We tend to lose elders when the wattle blooms. Last year was Uncle Archie, Uncle Jack. This year we've lost elders as well. But the flip side, we see yam daisies coming to flower, tadpoles in ponds, exciting new beginnings everywhere we look. Bunjil also taught us when to look for food. And I'm partly to blame for this because I'm an electrician by trade. But if we get away from the city lights, you can make out an emu on the horizon in the Milky Way. And as we traverse around the sun, the emu will stand up. And as we continue, the emu lays down on the horizon. And this tells us the father's now gone to nest and we wouldn't take the egg anymore. Now, Pop tells me you had to run like hell. The local Macca's got me. It's no good. Stay away from it. Don't put that on camera. But 235 years ago, everything changed. And I got here at around 5:30, and it was kind of humbling to be able to look around and see the MCG, the Birrarung, the Yarra River, Namna, Port Phillip Bay, all these places that have stories tied to us. The MCG was once a place of tandarum, song, dance, ceremony. We forced off that so they could reroute the Birrarung to build a sporting field. The Birrarung runs through country like the veins through our blood, offering resource, life. It's phenomenal. And before Namna, Port Phillip Bay filled up, it used to run all the way to Tasmania. And I'm told by avid divers that you can follow that channel all the way through still today. I don't know about them sharks though. I'm not staying there. But we forced off what was home to places like Bolombol and Billabong. And then the squatters said, no, these fellas, they're getting too comfortable here. And that's when they established Corranderk. Corranderk's known as Healesville today. At Corranderk, we weren't allowed to speak our native tongue, but we had to learn to read and write English to get a paycheck. Corranderk was one of the most profitable Aboriginal missions in the country. So for everyone here who speaks a language other than English, I implore you to teach future generations, because losing language is an absolute travesty to the fabric and identity of who we all are. At the mission, Uncle Bill Valeri decided it was time to negotiate. So we walked from Corranderk to Spring Street. Negotiated our first treaty. It's 2023, what's that word, treaty? I don't know. But 12 axes, a couple of blankets and a few bags of rice is all they settled on. The Crown ripped it up. We weren't worth that much. But at that signing were two little fellas, Uncle Simon Wonga and Uncle William Barak. And both advocated tirelessly for the betterment, not just for First Nations, but for all the Victorians. Then there's my grandmother. She had a tribal name, Bullum. Some people say that it was given to her by Uncle Barak, but I turned 21 last week, I promise, so I'm not too sure. But Bullum, the old people had a way of knowing. Gentle, caring, nurturing. Little white butterflies this year were in abundance. They were phenomenal. Unless you've got a veggie garden, then you're probably not that impressed. But Nan was instrumental in opening the first health service for Aboriginal people right here in Victoria. How the old people had a way of knowing how to read seasons, how to read country, blows me away, and I hope I get old one day and pass on that knowledge to future generations. 1967, we had a referendum when we voted yes. Aboriginal people are human. It's not a bad concept, considering we've lived here since the beginning of time. Then there's my story. Not long after the referendum, I started school as a proud little Aboriginal boy. I told you I'm over 21, promise. And my first day of school, I thought it was going to be great. I wanted to share stories, some of which I've spoken to you guys here tonight about. You know, the Birrarung, Namna, Bunjil. Except my first day of school was terrible. I was told I wasn't Aboriginal because I was white. I went home broken. So you're making me nervous. My watch is telling me my heart rate's too high. But my first day of school, absolutely. And laughter brings a room together. It heals those pains that we may feel through time. But as I hit my teenage years, it rose again. And I was always encouraged not to call other Indigenous boys and girls purely because we didn't know where our family members were put when we were forced off what was home to Corranderk. Because we were separated again and sent to places like Cumragunja up on the Murray. Dungala is the native word in the Yorta Yorta language, like Birrarung for us. We're forced off to places like Lake Tyers in East Gippsland. But we're fortunate at Wurundjeri. We're followed around like subjects of the Crown. So we're able to find all that document available to us in the State Library. Something that's been denied to First Nations throughout Australia, throughout the globe, since colonisation. But as I spoke about Bunjil's law at the very inception, and laughter bringing us together in the room, It's not about dwelling on those horrible happenings of the past, but how we embrace those laws set from creation about caring and listening for each other and coming back together collectively as one. Before I welcome you all to my ancestors' home, my home, I wish to pay respects to my elders past and present. I want to pause and acknowledge all of you. I pay my respects to your elders past and present also. Woman Jika Arundri Bullock, Yemen, Windibek. Welcome to the traditional lands of the Arundri people. Our traditional lands go west of the Werribee River, north to the Great Divide, east to Mount Borbor, and south to Mordialloc Creek. Now there's a little caveat in there. Sorry, I'm taking a little time. Promise, I'll be quick. Woman Jika has 3 syllables. Woman means to come. G means with. Ka is purpose. And the reason I say that is because there's 30 fantastic people tonight that are going to stand up that have all come with a phenomenal purpose. Thank you.
When Daniel rocked up this afternoon, thank you so much for that, by the way. I said, I'm sure I've heard you speak before, and I just realized where I heard you speak, but I don't want to tell you just in case you're like, no, you're wrong. So it was the Midsummer Extravaganza.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm so proud of myself. Now my brain can rest easy. Thank you so much for that. This is the 5th annual Out for Australia 30 Under 30 Awards, and we are excited to induct another batch of incredible young role models into our 30 Under 30 Hall of Fame. When Frances and I were getting ready in the green room before, I said to her, nothing makes me feel more unaccomplished than reading the bios of all of these people, because I'm well into my 30s and they are absolutely amazing. This is our 2nd year back in person after the pandemic, and it is the first ever awards night back in Naarm, and I'm sure the Melbourne-based award recipients and the OFA volunteers are happy they didn't have to get on the plane. The awards tonight recognise 30 outstanding LGBTQIA+ individuals under the age of 30. These recipients are living as their authentic selves within their communities, and the winners were chosen based on tangible contributions to the LGBTQIA+ community, success in their field, and the qualities they exhibit as an inspirational role model, those being authenticity, courage, and resilience. Tonight we'll be announcing all 30 winners and presenting them with their award and certificate here on stage. They look amazing. And we'll be joined by the fabulous Elvis Martin to deliver his keynote speech. And to conclude, we'll be announcing our category award winners as chosen and presented by our judges, with each category winner getting the chance to say a few words on our stage. Our 30 in the room don't know who will be chosen. I don't even know. They wouldn't tell me. I can't keep a secret. We, of course, also have an exciting lineup of entertainment throughout the ceremony, so you'll get to see the Singing Scientist, aka Katrina Ewan Robinson, aka a 30 Under 30 alumni from 2022, and of course, thank you so much to Darcy Fox, who entertained us all in the cafe before. After the last category presentation at around 8:30, don't hate me if it's a little bit over, we'll wrap up with the viewers, and we'll open up the cafe and foyer for nibbles and networking. After 10 p.m, we invite you all to the after party. Hello. At Evie's Disco and Diner, where we will have a very modest bar tab. I'm really sorry for those of you who are online, you won't be able to join us, but I'm sure you'll figure out your own way of celebrating your nominees in your communities. And stay tuned across Out for Australia socials for upcoming state and territory-based events. I went to the Melbourne-based one last year. It was a fun time. I think I went home at Frances, 2 a.m? Yeah, it's done, but it was so fun. You put me on the stage. 30 Under 30 is brought to you by Out for Australia, proudly supported by BCG. And to say a few words on behalf of Out for Australia, I'd like to invite the CEO, Frances Campbell.
Thanks very much for that introduction, Lacey. I just called you myself that. Well done. So, hi everyone. Yes, my name is Frances Gamble. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the CEO at For Australia. I won't go into depth about who OFA is because you saw the lovely video that was aired before. But I would also like to acknowledge that we do gather on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, and I extend my respects as well to elders past and present. Thank you, Daniel Ross, for your beautiful welcome to Naarm here, and for explaining Wamanjeka. I love that the literal translation for welcome in the Waywurrung language means come with purpose. And as Daniel alluded to, we all have a purpose for being here tonight. Whether we are recognizing your fabulous and important achievements, whether you are supporting a loved one who is being recognized, or whether you're here to support this, to celebrate this esteemed group of incredible young role models. We are joined in our purpose of celebrating rainbow excellence. Woo! I think that deserves a cheer. So for those that have been keeping track, and as Lacey mentioned, this just so happens to be our 5th 30 Under 30 Awards. And now, as someone who has been around OFA a while, I've had the pleasure of attending or being part of organising each one. And I'm incredibly proud to see how these awards have grown, how they continue to grow, how they thrive, and even with a couple of COVID years thrown in there. This is the first year that we have a winner from every state and territory in this country. I think that deserves another cheer. I also extend a special welcome to our 30 Under 30 alumni who are with us in the audience tonight. I am so glad that you can join us. Thank you again for all the work that you have done and the role models that you continue to be. This year also happens to be the year that Out for Australia turns 10. That's 10 years running Australia's largest career mentoring program, connecting our community through events and amplifying our community stories. 10 years is both a long and a short amount of time. I reflect on my own journey over that time and think about myself 10 years ago. I had just moved here to Naarm to start university. I was 18 years old. I was also not out to my parents. And if you had told me then that I would be the CEO of a national LGBTQIA plus organisation, I would have laughed in your face. However, if we can take ourselves back to just over 5 years ago, we come to the moment that changed for me. That actually happened in this very building, at another company's offices, on a different floor. Don't ask me which one. I can tell you the company, but you can ask me that later. We're here on BCG's turf, so I think we should respect that. The reason that was such a transformational moment for me was because that was the first time I had entered a professional setting that was unapologetically queer. I saw people like me telling their stories on stage, stories that I could relate to, stories that helped me see what I was going to do when I started my career sometime later. I felt a relief from an anxiety that I didn't know I'd been carrying, that had been building up for years. That anxiety of how I was going to walk into my first job, my first full-time job with a room of full-grown adults, how I was going to be my authentic rainbow self. I'm happy to say about 1.5 years later, I did move to Ngunnawal in Ngambri country, so-called Canberra, our nation's capital. And I entered my first full-time job as a public servant, a graduate. And thanks to my journey with OFA during that time, I began that job as my out Rainbow Self, on day one. And as much as that is my story of how OFA has helped me, OFA is here to support our LGBTQIA+ community. Our community, we are here to support them to thrive in every workplace. And we mean every workplace, from corporate offices like these ones to construction sites, to classrooms, to retail stores, and hundreds of other workplaces that you can think of. Each workplace and each organisation is different. The people that make up those organisations are different. I stress this point to highlight the diversity of our community, noting that our workplace setting is just one element of that. Our community has many different intersections that I will not be able to name all of, but include those intersections from our cultural backgrounds to where we were born, from our access needs and whether we have a disability to our neurodiversity, to our faith, to our gender and our sexuality. We are a diverse bunch of folks. That's why there's a lot of letters in that acronym and why there's a little plus at the end. But there are two communities that I do really want to highlight very briefly. Firstly, of course, in the context of the upcoming referendum on the voice, our First Nations communities. Out for Australia will be putting our public support behind this campaign to amplify the message that we very simply believe that First Nations people deserve to have a say in the issues that affect them. We ask you to consider the information available out there and to vote yes yourselves. The second community that I want to highlight are our trans and non-binary, our gender diverse community, who are increasingly the target of polarizing misinformation in the media. To all the allies in the room, I'm talking to you. I ask you to call out transphobia whenever and wherever you see it, and stand in solidarity with our trans and gender diverse community at every opportunity that you're able. Woo! Woo! To do. Not only is it your responsibility as a member of this community to call out hate speech and misinformation wherever you see it, but also remember that you have trans people of colour to thank for leading the movement for gay rights. Use your privilege to have those difficult conversations. People need to be taken on a journey. If they don't understand our community, it is a difficult conversation most of the time that will get them there. So use your privilege to have those difficult conversations. Every time you politely correct someone's pronouns, especially when they're not in the room. Every time you respectfully challenge someone's misconceptions about gender, assumptions that certain things are binary. Every time you take a minute to educate would-be or could-be allies, you are helping to relieve the emotional burden of our trans and non-binary community members. People rarely change their mind when being shouted at and being told that they are wrong. People do need patience, empathy, and understanding. They need kindness and accountability. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. They need kindness and accountability to move their thinking. As much as those conversations can be difficult, I ask you to take on that challenge so that our trans and gender diverse community can have a much needed break from the relentless discourse that's out there. Reach out to them to have those conversations and let them know that you are there to support them. And also, take the time to educate yourself. Allyship is an act, and it is not only an act of standing up and being there in solidarity, it is also an act of continuous learning. Last night I was fortunate enough to attend a fantastic Equality Australia event where we heard from trans advocate and Whakawhine Imania Brown. She spoke about what gives her hope despite this ongoing politicisation of our trans and gender diverse community. She spoke about shoulders. And the way that she framed this was, everyone in this room can relate to having shoulders. I think that's true. No, she spoke about shoulders in the fact that we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. That the people that come after us will stand on our shoulders. Our work is a collection of community action and interactions. Tonight we celebrate 30 exceptional young LGBTQIA+ leaders who stand on the shoulders who came before us and upon whose shoulders future generations will stand. Before I finish, I'd like to thank our incredible Out for Australia team for putting on tonight's 30 Under 30 Awards. Well done, team. I am so proud of you and grateful for you. In particular, I would like to thank our dedicated 30 Under 30 volunteers, Mitch, who is standing there, and Karen as well, who I think is up the back there next to that light. I mean it when I say tonight would not have been possible without you, and I thank you so much. Finally, to BCG, our strategic sponsor for these awards, thank you for your support since their inception and for hosting us in this wonderful space this evening. I said finally, but really, last but not least, thank you to our 30 Under 30 winners. Thank you for all that you do. And please, I hope that you're proud of the work you are doing. I am proud of the work that you will continue to do after tonight. Because tonight it is us. We stand on your shoulders. Thank you.
I think it was one of my first Out for Australia events that I attended. It was on Chapel Street, and one of the panelists there said that being an ally is a verb. And it's the first time I'd ever heard that my shoulders for, Francis, 5 years now? And that resonated in your speech. So yes, being an ally is a verb. We need to do the work. I would now like to invite Alison Blake, who is the Head of Diversity and Inclusion for BCG, to share a few words on their behalf.
Good evening, everybody. It's so lovely to have you here. I apologise, I seem to be losing my voice already. I'm Alison Blake. I'm actually not the Head of Diversity and Inclusion at BCG. I'm the Head of our Pride at BCG Network. So I haven't been promoted overnight. I'm also a Principal in our Public Sector Practice, and on behalf of our broader leadership team, we're delighted to have you here and be celebrating this wonderful event tonight. I'd like to add my acknowledgement to those who've already spoken about our debt to the traditional owners of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. Naarm has always been a significant gathering place for groups of the Kulin Nation, and we acknowledge and respect their continuing connection with the land. It's fitting that this year's 30 Under 30 event comes amid another national discussion around inclusivity and equity, the campaign for an Indigenous voice to Parliament, and a campaign that BCG supports. We know from our work with Indigenous communities over many years that those who are involved need to have a voice in proceedings. It's common sense, and we're proud to support the campaign. I'm thrilled to be part of this celebration honouring the remarkable achievement of the 30 Under 30 LGBTQIA+ leaders. At BCG, we recognise the immense value of diversity and inclusion, and we take great pride in fostering an environment where every individual feels seen, heard and celebrated. It's one of the reasons I joined BCG on account of the strength of its Pride network. It's one of the reasons I'm still here. Our investment in building a culture of inclusion through our Pride network pillar is a cornerstone of this commitment, and I'm proud to say that globally, our Pride network now has more than 1,100 members. We passionately celebrate days of cultural significance such as Mardi Gras, Ida Hobart, Wear It Purple Day and others. These celebrations not only bring our diverse team together, but also serve as a reminder of the strength that comes from embracing our unique identities. One of our standout initiatives is our commitment to championing the future LGBTQIA+ leaders of tomorrow. We've proudly supported 5 of our Pride members with a fully funded MBA journey to Harvard. These individuals are not only just shaping their own futures, but also contributing significantly to the diversity of future leaders who will shape the world in which we live. As we continue to champion inclusion within our firm, we remain steadfast in our belief that a diverse and inclusive workplace is not only a source of strength, but a pathway to innovation and to excellence. Of course, a very deep source of pride to the firm is our long-standing sponsorship of For Australia, and our particular role as co-host for the 30 Under 30 Awards, an event we've supported since 2019. I'm delighted to say that I was there in 2019 for the first in-person event. Through the COVID years, it was lovely to be back in person last year in Sydney, and it's wonderful to be down here with you tonight. To each of you, thank you for joining us. We've got a fantastic celebration here with some really amazing people. And to those of you who are here to celebrate, thank you for all that you've given to your communities, to the people around you, and I'm stoked to be sitting in the same room as you. Together we look forward to a brighter, more inclusive future for all. Thank you everyone, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you so much, Alison. I would now like to introduce Awadi. Awadi, aka Muhammad Awad, is a queer Arab Muslim and a rapper, writer, director, poet, and playwright. And I have to read that out because there are so many things. They are currently running out of ways to express themselves. And while he spends most of his time as a spoken word artist, he also writes and directs short films and visual poems. He has featured on television, radio, and newspaper, and was a New South Wales state finalist in the 2019 Australian Poetry Slam. Tonight he'll be performing some of his poetry, and later on he will be rapping for us. Alrighty.
Thirty to 30, let's hear that one more time. Another round of done. Okay, so doing these like corporate gigs as an artist is always just a little bit awkward because I have to just censor myself just a little bit. I make no promises tonight, but I get a sort of sense of the awkwardness in the crowd. So I just for a moment, I'm gonna do a little. Can I get a in 3, 2, 1? I want to get a bra-ta-ta. 3, 2, 1. No, come on. Come on. 3, 2, 1. I'll take that. I'll accept that. Thank you so much. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. I want to first, Francis, can I give you a hug? I would love to. Thank you. Oh, thank you for holding so much space and for all the amazing work that you do. Hey, round of applause for Francis. This is gonna go. This is gonna be fine. All right. So, for the first part of today's poetry set, I am gonna take you guys on a little journey. But before I get to our little story journey, I'm gonna start you off with this piece called Queer Love. Queer Love was written and commissioned by the West Ball in Western Sydney, back home. It was the first resurgence of ballroom culture out in Western Sydney, and they've asked me to come back every year to perform it. And I felt like it was a really good way to start the evening tonight. When it comes to poetry, I think a lot of people don't know how to respond all the time. People are like, what do I say? What do I do? How do I show appreciation? One thing that people always say that they do, can I get a little clicks? Some clicks? Come on, guys, you hear that? Okay, that just means I love and appreciate you, and I'm going to respectfully be quiet. But I like what you're saying. I like what I'm hearing. Now, you do not have to respect me. Disrespect me, really. Let me, heckle me, shout at me. I once had a guy from the back of the room who did not know me in the middle of a poem said, "Ha! Aries," and he was right. I am a triple Aries. I don't know how he knew that, but he diagnosed me across the room. So please feel free, if it comes from you, if you feel if it's invoked, yell, scream, holler. I don't care what y'all do. But I'm gonna get you guys out with this first piece, Queer Love. It's all queer love. It's all queer sons and daughters and non-binary babes. It's all queer from here and forever. Queer love is all I hear, and remember our love is the most pure. Lesbians entangled in each other's commitments. Gays wanting good dick without string attachments. Bisexuals who place bets on both sides. Trans kings and queens who are fighting every day to stay alive. Asexuals and intersex who just want some damn respect. Can't spell blasphemous without femme. We're abominations into domination. We're twinks with daddy issues and bears with savior complexes. Not a kink, we won't try. If you ask, we'll say it's our first time. Dare not to come near. We're queers without fears. It's fuck the law and the horse they came on. There's a horse hung Lebanese who's got more where that came from. This is after censoring out the Do you understand my issue? Anyway, we catwalk out of depression. Out Vogue into position, get information and make them petitions. Shit on these hoes while we strike a pose. And you know damn well we put on the best motherfucking shows. Queer love is boys in dresses and girls in blazers. It's always 420, Paris is burning and Oxford Street is blazing. Prep school is just a gay education, bougie queens run the ballroom scenes. With pat-down weaves and padded bars full of straight sequins. And texts from married husbands who keep them as mistresses. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the sisters who found love and started businesses. Queer love is church boys who found God on their knees. On the floor of bathroom stalls, it's the queer revolution, the coming out constitution. Closet started out in segregation, coming out is liberation, saying fuck the racists, fuck the homophobes, DJ, play Lady Gaga and Beyonce's telephone. I should have set that up with you, that's all me. That's all me. So my mother's standards, rest in peace. Rest in power, Marsha P. Marchers who still hit the streets. Queer love marches for every man, woman, child, and everyone in between. I lost most blood connections when I burnt down my closets. But found queer family in all kind of queer pockets. What we don't share in name, we make up for in trauma. Blood types ain't the same, but queer love kept us warmer than straight love ever can. Straight love threw dirt on our hands, sold us out from the shame. Your family is a name brand, our families are homemade. Some of us end up homeless. We bled out in public, but we built these queer houses forever safe from the judgment. Queer love is thicker than blood. Stronger than alphabet soup diagnoses. HIV is just a combination of letters they use as branding. Queer love is not tolerance, it is understanding. It is the players and the hoes and the poets romancing, and it is all queer love. Queer love is pierced areolas and king-side Trojans. Don't matter how big your big, wait. Don't matter how big your, no. Don't matter how big your dick is though, it's all queer love. It's all queer love. You say we'll burn in hell, then we chillin' with Hades. But while I'm up here, skinny dip in the Euphrates, and it is all motherfucking queer love. Crowd is not just this. Yeah. We just getting started. All right. So for the next two pieces I'm going to share with you guys. One is a poem I wrote when I was first in love. That's why I sound And the one I'm going to share right after is from a place of healing, growth, therapy, all those things. But let's kick it off with limited edition love. I met you 5 days before your flight to London, and this wasn't meant to last more than a few hours, but I stayed the night for the first time. And then the night after that, and then the night after that, you gave me limited edition love. A 5-day free trial. Don't know if I'll be able to afford it after a while. After all, I'm a broke uni student. Poor in judgment, but never in style. Quick to claim love and slow to accept denial. I want to know its worth. How much of you will I get to see? How much access do I have to your inner angels and demons without inhibitions or closed off secrets? Stuck in a closet with one-way mirror screens, I want to see you. I want to be on the other side of this interrogation room. I'm here to tell you, I'm not here to play good cop or bad cop. I'm here to love you. To be your lawyer when your patience is on trial. To be your psychologist when you're reaching the end of your emotional wire. To be your poet when you can't find the words, and to be your lover when everything falls apart and you just need a pair of arms to be held together in. And I don't want this relationship to seem transactional, but I've paid my money, time, and love to failed partnership business ventures before. I'm no wolf on Wall Street, but Lord, do I know a venture capitalist when I see one. Seeking an opportunity in me, low risk, high reward, an easy target. Your body aflame, you only needed a bed sheet to keep us warm. Threw off the duvet and to love from what was once a chore, but you threw me off. Said you want to get a mortgage on this love in this house, in this living house of living crisis. Make this big commitment. This is a different property market at the time. Make this big commitment now and slowly pay off my debt to you. Slowly wipe the fear of love, society entrenched you, gradually pay you in security, stability, and love installments, so you can eventually say the words, I love you, back to me. I know it might take years for you to say it because you got so used to not hearing it being said back to you, and I was in shock. Someone call OH&S because this love is a health risk. You put me in cardiac arrest, except I was the victim and you were the cop. Lock me up if that's what you're into. This isn't what I meant when I said I wanted to cuff you. But do what you please with my body because my love is ethereal. It is not of this world and cannot be tied to the material. When this body dies, my love lives on. It can never be housed in a space so small anyway. I've never been good with risk assessment. There's a couple red flags, but you proudly wave them in the open. Honesty is a word I hear being talked about, but never spoken. With you, I feel you tell me if I didn't fall with grace. And it's a good thing gambling is forbidden in my religion because I've never had the best of luck. But I think I might have just won the lottery. Thank you. Muhammad, you had crazy first love. You could be safe and vulnerable with someone. I got cheated on. But that's a story for another time and for a different poetry set. And one day in the future, I'll take you guys on that journey. But instead, I'm going to take you guys to where I'm at right now, which is I got involved in a polyamorous relationship. It was real messy. Some people think they can do polyamory, they cannot. And I was just like, oh, this is messy, goodbye. And that's this poem, essentially. Shout out to this person. No comment. Don't worry about it. They don't hear it, it's fine. I know how hunger can feel. Origins of the underbelly, not the stomach. Uncontrollable need to feed. You haven't satiated in years. I know what starvation looks like. Saliva overflowing off the chin, eyes widen for desire, a primal urge. You can hear its footsteps, but it doesn't wander near your home. A memory of it keeps you from killing. No energy to hide the body. I can see you haven't eaten. Let me feed you. Spread my ancestral knowledge into spreads, dips, dishes for you to feast. Your love is made for another, but your lover builds beds with others. Let me offer one side of my mattress. or the couch comfort my sofa could provide. Perhaps space between seats in my Hyundai hatchback. You think consultation is communication. I need to fuck other people for your information, Habibi. Let me give you a love that feels like conversation. Romance as reciprocation. Do you know how it feels to be held in consideration? I have been the scapegoat before. Outlet for romantic escape, sample for what tenderness can taste like. How my love can sit on your tongue, fold into your lips, folds you can unfold into. Only for you to spit what you cannot swallow. The pit of my peach that you couldn't stomach. How could you nourish yourself with crumbs, crawling for a drip of your lover's leftovers, mouth open, his finishings on another's cheek, when you know I never would have left you unsatisfied. Thank you. Before I leave you all tonight, just very briefly, back home on Direct Land out in Sydney, I run a queer Muslim mental health service called Muslim Peers Project. We queer Muslim people with experience providing mental support to other queer Muslims. And low-key, we need some funding. So, if there's any sponsors in the room, I don't know, anyone in the room who wants to have a chat with me after the show, sure. The presentation tonight, please find me and I'd love to have a chat with you. You guys have a good night.
Awadi, I feel like we should be friends. I'm also an Aries. I have a Pisces moon, so you need to be gentle.
I'm stay away.
So now it is finally time to get into our 30 under 30. So to begin with, I would like to thank our 6 judges. It's unfortunate they are all volunteers, and this year we had over 120 applicants or nominees, and they had to go through all of them, which is not an easy job. So first up, we have Al Noor, he, him. Al has been volunteering out for Australia since October 2020, joining the organisation shortly after Victoria came out of its longest lockdown. An active mentee who you saw in the video before. On OFA's mentoring program, Al is a big believer in the power of mentoring for both personal and professional development for LGBTQIA+ professionals. Al is also a member of the Victorian Pride Centre's Community Reference Group, a 2-year appointment that enables community input into the strategic operations of Australia's first purpose-built Pride Centre. It's in St Kilda. If you're from out of state, you should go and check it out. Our second judge is Brandy Tseng. Brandy is based in Sydney and has been practicing law since 2012. She joined the Boston Consulting Group in 2019 and currently oversees all legal and risk matters in Australia and New Zealand. She is also the Women in Pride Intersectionality Node for the Pride and BCG leadership team and is committed to creating safe and supportive spaces for female identifying members within the BCG network. Outside of work, Brandy has dabbled in stage acting and stand-up comedy, and on the weekend you're likely to find her at the theatre, a new eatery, or on a hike to strike a healthy balance. Our third judge, why the laugh? What do you know? Come find me later. Our third judge is Hank Paul, they, them. Hank is an award-winning photographer turned LGBTQIA+ advocate and inclusion consultant. Based on Gadigal land in Sydney, Australia, Hank helps entrepreneurs around the world authentically connect with LGBTQIA+ people through the power of story, business, and education. Hank is out for Australia's Chief Storytelling Officer. Francis, I did not know that was a job, so we should talk. Because I feel like I would be good at that. The award winner. Heather Preston, she, her. Heather is the current Deputy CEO of Out for Australia. We met her before. She's one of our wellness officers and is a professional change manager in the public sector. With a Masters of Business Administration specialising in entrepreneurship and innovation, she brings a blend of expertise and creativity to her work and leadership style. Heather is a mum of 3 small children and a menagerie of adorable, furry and fluffy creatures. I want to know more. later, and after that. And is driven by her passion to empower the next generation with visible role models, ensuring a safe space for LGBTQIA+ youth to embrace their authentic selves in all spheres of life. Our fifth judge has my favourite bio. It is Isabel Esberg. Isabel is an executive assistant at BCG and co-lead of the Women in Pride in Melbourne. Done. Our sixth and final judge is Laura Faulkner, they, them. Laura is a queer non-binary legal professional who is deeply committed to fostering inclusivity within the legal industry. Laura's dedication extends beyond the workplace as they actively advocate for LGBTQIA+ mentorship, visibility and inclusion, particularly in regional Queensland. They endeavour to make a positive impact and inspire others to embrace authenticity and diversity in all their forms. They are our six judges. We'll announce our fabulous 30 under 30 winners in 2 segments of 15, and I would love someone to bring me a glass of white wine in between those. And then we'll announce our top 5 category winners at the end. The category winners are the top scoring individuals from amongst the 30 under 30 finalists in the following 5 categories. So we've got a community advocate, inclusion and belonging champion, standout student, rising star, and a regional legend. As each of our winners come up, I'll announce their names and read out their short bio. And winners, I ask that you'll make your way to the stage when your name is called. And of course, Francis is going to be presented you on this side with your award, your trophy, and your certificate. And make sure you pose for your awkward photo for our amazing photographer. Our winners are announced in alphabetical order. First up, we have Adrian Gooden. Adrian is a shark scientist and a PhD student. They're passionate about science communication, advocating for inclusion in STEM, and collaborating with queer-owned brands. Through social media and collaborations, Adrian aims to dispel shark myths, inspire diversity, and empower others to chase their dreams. Every neurodivergent person in the room wants to talk to you. Aish is an advocate for diversity and inclusivity based in Perth on Wajak Noongar land. Aish thrives at Journey 1, fostering collaborative teams and extraordinary results. As a base camp leader, she guides remarkable journeys in human services, blending businesses, technology, and impact. Aisha's commitment to blending social impact extends to serving as Chief People Officer. She was too quick to leave the stage. Following initiative and volunteering in climate education and tech events. I can talk really fast. I'm trying to pace myself. Let's take this slowly, guys. Our third award recipient. Our third award recipient is Alexander Cheng. Alex is the son of Cambodian refugees, a community builder and a management consultant at LEK Consulting. He launched the APAC LGBTQIA+ and POC employee networks at LEK. And in 2021, he also founded Careers in Colour, a not-for-profit that empowers POCs, you can leave, to affect positive change in the careers and communities. You're right. Again, I said you gave me this microphone. Next up, we have Alexander Lewis. He, him, his. Alex is a journalist with ABC News in Sydney. From the push for hate crimes inquiry, his reporting has highlighted discrimination faced by the queer community. In 2023, he was the ABC's lead TV news reporter for Sydney World Pride, and his journalism has amplified compelling personal stories of courage from across the rainbow community.
I was going to say, for our next winners, you are welcome to stand and stay on the stage for a bit longer so we can shower you in praise. Get the praise and yeah, feel free to spend some more time and stand here awkwardly and smile.
Basically, Frances has to stand here awkwardly and she would like some help. Alexander Lucian Hudson. Alexander is an artist, designer, and educator that lives and works on the land of the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. His role as Pride Coordinator at Wesley College, Melbourne coordinates the Pride group to create safe spaces and increase visibility of LGBTQIA+ students and staff both in the Wesley College community and Australia's religious school. I love that wine. Next up, we have Alison Wright. She Alison is a transgender neurobiologist who obtained her PhD at 24 in spinal cord injury research in 2019. Through the pandemic, she's worked in Germany and returned back to Australia where she taught, I can hear you laughing, where she taught the nursing faculty at Griffith University. She's now working towards a career in applying her people-centered knowledge into healthcare policy design. In her own words, I want to show people that a trans person is capable of amazing things, and I want to do it while helping those I can. Next up, we have Angela Weibanger. Angela is a dynamic young transgender woman who holds the position of General Manager at Transgender Victoria. Her remarkable journey is defined by courage, resilience, and an unwavering dedication to championing transgender rights. Angela has lived experience of the challenges and hurdles faced by the community. However, she has transformed these experiences and pain into opportunities for growth and empowerment. Her passion for creating positive change has fueled her commitment to advocating for equality, acceptance, and social progress, as well as providing support directly wherever possible. Anish is a dedicated educator residing in Wajak Noongar country. With a dedicated, long track record, he's championed LGBTQIA+ youth advocacy and access to educational opportunities. Anish's roles as President and Board Director of the state and national NFPs, along with policy reforms in education, reflect his commitment. Anish, who identifies as a gay person of colour, believes that education has the power to enrich Australians' diverse society. I love the sound of my own voice, but even this next we have Beck Hurft. Beck is a second generation Australian. I was right, thank you very much.
Under Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Beck, we will come back to you. We will get through this.
Amazing.
It's not me. Technical difficulties. Is that a technical challenge?
I mean, yes, but like, we'll get through it, it's fine. We love a technical glitch. So next up we have Ben Dudman. Ben is the youngest councillor ever elected to Northern Tasmania's Neander Valley Council. As the first openly gay member of the council, Ben champions inclusivity and diversity, as well as the foundation of a strong community. His achievements include leading the effort to raise the rainbow flag above the council chambers for Ida Hobbit Day in 2023. Ben's unwavering commitment to representation and social justice defines his impact. Bianca Lupke. Bianca founded and runs a weekly youth group, Alphabet Soup Youth Group, which is such a good name, for LGBTQIA plus teens in Wagga Wagga on Wiradjuri country. She spends her time passionately advocating for LGBTQIA plus youth spaces, connection, and improving the lives of regional LGBTQIA plus youth. Bianca is notably a proud member of 2010's youth team. Busy Levesque. Busy is a Waka Waka writer and burlesque dancer who tackles race, gender, and sexuality in her work. Championing queer intersectional feminism, Busy co-produces Point of Change, a groundbreaking Meandrin event spotlighting producers of colour, often sidelined by conventional spaces. In 2023, she won the Brisbane Pride Queen's Ball Award for First Nations leadership and engagement, and has raised thousands of dollars for charities like Black Rainbow and Trans Columbia, advocating for more inclusive work. Tangent, but I was joking with Mitch before. I used to have a little slot on GoFM. And one of my least favorite things to do was to read out the live ads because it turns out I have ADHD, and so I would start reading and then I would jump ahead. And so that's why the eyes are down here, and sometimes I'll trip over my words. But we're getting there. Give me a round of applause. Charles Chu, he, him. Charles is a first-generation Hong Kong Australian, is currently co-director at the Victorian Statewide Trauma Service, pioneering the world's first statewide specialist trauma initiative. With a history of impactful advocacy, he led significant policy reforms for LGBTQIA plus individuals at the Australian Association of Social Workers. Charles's leadership extended to a groundbreaking LGBTQIA plus project at Thorn Harbour Health, enhancing visibility and in the mental health sector. His journey, interweaving diverse identities and experiences, embodies resilience and an unwavering commitment to fostering inclusivity. Claire Monks, they, them. Claire is a queer, non-binary and neurodivergent peer worker who uses their lived experiences to support and connect with individuals. They are passionate about making sure everyone has access to gender and neurodiversity affirming mental health care and creating a space where everyone feels safe to be themselves. And last but not least in this round, we have Danelle Kalansaria. Danelle is a passionate community advocate for QTIB, IPOC and LGBTQIA SB plus health. She is a medical student and the current chair of the queer arm of the Australian Medical Students Association. In her clinical career, she hopes to provide safe reproductive, obstetric and termination care that is free from biological essentialism. Woo! That is our first 15 of our 30 winners. For a short break, we have Kat, the singing scientist, to perform. She sings in the lab and dreams up experiments in the shower. Her songs are scientific earworms, so good luck tomorrow. And we'll sing about immune cells to anyone who will listen. She's unapologetically her throughout her performances and will work in the community. She's also a 2022 30 under 30 winner. Woo! I feel like you can give Kat a bigger round of applause.
Ignore the screens, please. Oh, it's view only. I can't change anything. All right. We'll just stay.
I'm not Einstein, but I can try. Just while the microphones are being set up, it's for everyone. It's for the community. I remember when I first came to know, keeping silent, I was pulling a weight in tow. I'm sure I've had to tell those I hold close, all those people who I love the most. That's when you have the most to lose if they don't react well to the news. From many I got nothing but love, and I wondered what I'd been so afraid of. People can be straight and people can be gay, and others like me, we fall midway. Sexuality is a continuous line. Wherever you sit, it's totally fine. I am who I am, and that is okay. Be who I want, you don't get to say. There aren't any rules we have to obey. Show off who you are, that is okay. I felt so vulnerable when I opened up. The way you reacted was a bit of a shake-up. I shouldn't have to give evidence to explain. It's not like all black people are exactly the same. All of us are different in beautiful ways. It's important, you know, it's not just a phase. People I love across the gender spectrum extend, even if that's something you can't comprehend. People can be straight and people can be gay, and others like me, we fall midway. Sexuality is a continuous line. Wherever you sit is totally fine. I am who I am, and that is okay. I can be who I want, you don't get to say. There aren't any rules we have to obey. Show off who you are, that is okay. Finding your true self is journey lifelong. Finding a community in which you belong. You're welcome, safe, and loved among the queer. A community in which our uniqueness is held dear. It can be hard when you're not like others around. Hoping that as you won't be put down. Who you are is special, something you should own. We're stronger together, you're never alone. People can be straight and people can be gay. And others like me, we fall midway. Sexuality is a continuous line. Wherever you sit, it's totally fine. I am who I am, and that is okay. I can be who I want, you don't get to say. There aren't any rules we have to obey. Show off who you are, that is okay. Here. On the back of that, I have a piece that's some about me and my relationship with my parents. I have a Vietnamese family who don't really get it, and so this song is for them. In shadows cast under your glare, I tread round a secret fraught with care. A hidden truth that's locked in my chest, even though it kinda shows in the way that I'm dressed. My parents, whom I cherish and adore, but fearing they won't accept me anymore. From my parents' eyes, I shield my heart, pretending I'm someone I'm not is a fine art. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. Sometimes I'm ambushed about the rainbows I wear. I pass it off as fun coloring my hair. The family chats about how I'm too near to a community I'm part of because I'm queer. In closets dark I find refuge here, a place to hide, to mask what I hold dear. But the weight of secrets can be heavy. In darkness we conceal what makes us be. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. For in this journey where my heart must hide, I'll find my strength, my purpose, and my pride. Though fear may shroud the path we choose to take, in time acceptance often will come for love's sake. But hope persists, for time will heal. The love they have for me is surely real. Someday I'll feel the courage to reveal the truth I've hidden and the love I feel. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. I hide the truth. But love is love, it has no shame. No need to play this never-ending game. But for now I'll bide my time and wait for acceptance and love and a future that's great. So hold your courage close, my dear friend. In time your hidden truth you may amend. But parents' hearts they often want to see the child they love in full authenticity. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. I hide the truth, I hide the truth. Now, I am wearing this dress for a reason. I am the singing scientist, so you're getting one science song. I hope you're not sick of it, but this is especially for all the Melburnians out there who are in lockdown for a long time. There's a new virus spreading around the world and we don't know what to do. It's a coronavirus from bats called SARS-CoV-2. It spreads from person to person through a cough or through a sneeze. You can land on surfaces or be carried by a breeze. The virus can stay on plastic or sealed for up to 3 days. So when you're out and about, sanitize always. How long before a person becomes infectious is unknown. But you can certainly spread it before your infection becomes full blown. SARS-CoV-2. Hope it doesn't infect you. SARS-CoV-2. We're hoping for a breakthrough. The virus is coated by a lipid membrane envelope. Fatty membrane that falls apart when it touches soap. Alcohol disinfectant attacks proteins in the envelope membrane. These make the viruses inactive and harmless they remain. So contains fat-like molecules that look like the ones from the virus. They can be with the membrane lipids to stop it from getting inside us. Scientists are designing drugs to compete with a spike protein. If it can't attach to our cells, well, that will stop it entering. SARS-CoV-2. Hope it didn't infect you. SARS-CoV-2. We're hoping for a breakthrough. It travels in droplets in the air, so we've got to stay 1.5 meters apart. Even if you're feeling well, you can spread it before your symptoms start. When we leave our houses now, we have to wear a mask. Any covering and trap the viruses is what we ask. N95 must stop their particles from getting in. But don't protect other people as well if the wearer is infected within. 3-layer mask stop the viruses from getting out. Trapping infected droplets is what they're all about. SARS-CoV-2. Hope it doesn't infect you. SARS-CoV-2. We're hoping for a breakthrough. We're all waiting for Melbourne restrictions to ease with the roadmap. Remember that? Because when we stay up all day, we feel very trapped. Especially all the people like me who are living all alone. We're getting sick of virtual Zooms and only talking on the phone. We need the average new cases to stay down low for 2 whole weeks, sticking to 50 or below. But beyond that, make sure you reach out to a friend if you need a bubble. that one was written a bit of time ago. But this last one is for all of us because my parents, they saw the trans flag outside my house. It was just playing outside my house, and they're like, is that a faded Thai flag? What country is that? Well, parents. And I did some looking, and my dad is actually very geographical and or has a lot of knowledge. And then he looked at the pride flag. He's like, "Is that the flag of Cusco?" And I looked it up. 7 coloured stripes, but there's like a little banner, a little logo on it. So maybe I don't know if anyone relates to this. In front of my house it gently sways, a vibrant flag of colors, a brilliant blaze. My parents puzzled their brows knit. They point and ask, which country's flag is it? A flag that is purple, pink and blue, or pink, white and blue of a different hue. Not realizing I'm celebrating people transify, they wondered whether it was a faded tie. Flag is it, one flag is it, one flag is hanging on my bedroom door. What flag is it, one flag is it, one flag is hanging on my bedroom door. Perhaps the pride flag is the flag of Cusco. They see a rainbow in a radiant array and wonder which nation's banner is on display. I take a moment to explain, these banners are not for any land or rain. They're symbols of love conquering the pain. The different ones to different identities pertain. Flag is it, what flag is it, what flag is hanging on my bedroom door. What flag is it, what flag is it, what flag is hanging on my bedroom door. It's not a nation's banner, I replied, but a flag of pride, far and wide. It stands for love, for pride and unity, a symbol of a world where all are free. It represents love in all its splendid forms, a rainbow of acceptance amid life's storms. For my friends' hearts it proudly flies, a beacon of acceptance that defies. What flag is it, what flag is it, what flag is hanging on my bedroom door. What flag is it, what flag is it, what flag is hanging on my bedroom door. For in that flag no lesson they now see, love knows no bounds and love's is meant to be. It's not about a country's sovereignty, but love, respect, and diversity. So in my room, my rainbow flag will sway, a symbol of the love that lights the way. No longer wondering, they understand why this flag of pride soars proudly to the sky. What flag is it? What flag is it? What flag is hanging on my bedroom door? What flag is it? What flag is it? What flag is hanging on my bedroom door? More amazing humans. Thank God, now I'm like, is it my time? Thank you so much, Kat. That was so fun. I'm a bit of a science nerd, so I loved the lyrics. So now we're up to our last 15 of the 30 under 30, starting with, oh, technically there are 17, I guess. 16. Yeah, 16, yes, my maths. So good. Thanks, Francis. The emotional support. First up, we have Georgina Cutter-Smith. She, her, hers. Georgina is a passionate water engineer creating positive impacts through sustainable projects. Based in Darwin, she focuses on wastewater treatment in remote Aboriginal communities. As a queer female engineer, she leads and mentors in the industry, fostering community through roles in organisations like Engineers Without Borders and with the Australian Water Association. Grace Valerie Lynette, she, her. Grace is a writer and producer whose work explores the intersection of queer and disabled identities. Her acclaimed musical podcast, Twinamies, garnered 7 nominations and an award, including Excellence in Creative Audio. Grace's influence extends from podcasting to film, where she directed the short musical film Girl Coded. As a development producer at Fremantle Media Australia Storyglass,
And an advocate for the bus stop films, Grace paves the way for a more inclusive world through storytelling. Hamish Taylor, he, him. Hamish is a driving force in fostering inclusivity, having sat on Proud to Play's board and co-chairing Teach for All's Global Pride Network. Hamish champions LGBTQIA+ rights worldwide. His journey from winning gold in a rowing competition to influencing policy reflects his unwavering commitment to equity. His courage to live authentically while elevating others exemplifies his impact, the impact of true allyship. Jacob Parker, he, him. Jacob is an English history teacher, neurodivergent and sober advocate, and a passionate playwright. With a strong commitment to celebrating diversity, creating safe spaces and embracing authenticity, Jacob's work resonates with the power of queer narratives. His academic journey, including a bachelor's in education and arts and an honours thesis critiquing educational policies, reflects his dedication to inclusive representation. Lauren French, she, her. Lauren is a proud, courageous woman, sexologist and head of education with Body Safety Australia, one of Australia's leading organisations in primary prevention. Lauren facilitates community prevention of abuse and LGBTQIA+ equity. Along with a Bachelor of Psychology, Lauren holds a Master's in Sexology and is the proud recipient of the 2023 Indigenous Achievement Award in the 2023 Seven News Young Achiever Awards. Lauren is unable to make it tonight, however, she happened to get her very own unique award presentation from OFA CEO Francis and OFA Chair of the Board, at another event hosted by Equality Australia last month. She was so honoured to receive this resourcefully created award and has a short comment of her today on the slides. Congratulations, Madeline Gandhi. Madeline is an admitted lawyer and the general manager of Darlinghurst Theatre Company. That's quite amazing. I like that. She is passionate about using her media, arts and legal skills to share and celebrate Australian stories. In addition to commercial legal experience and government experience at the Attorney General's Department, she co-founded the LGBTQIA+ theatre company, Fruitbox Theatre, and produced a full season of queer cabarets and original plays during World Pride. As a complete aside, we need to talk about where you got that place. Michelle Hock, she, her. Michelle is a proud, culturally diverse transgender woman working within the South Australian Department for Infrastructure and Transport. Michelle came out at work 3 years after being in the workplace. She is now a role model for LGBTQIA+ folk in the department. In her off time, she loves fashion, exploring local events, and being out in nature. Mimi Hall, they, she. Mimi is an intersex advocate on Ngunnawal country. Their impactful work spans advocacy, peer support, media, and legislative reform. As an intersex project coordinator at a gender agenda, they've crafted training, media campaigns, and policies at advancing rights for transgender, diverse, and intersex individuals. Notably, Mimi contributed to the ACT legislation protecting intersex people from non-consensual medical interventions. Another round of applause for me. Nathan Harrison, he, him. Nathan is a public health research student passionate about understanding the unmet needs of groups experiencing disproportionate harm from smoking and other modifiable health behaviours. He proudly advocates for breaking down the barriers that LGBTQIA+ professionals can face in the health and medical research sector. refer to my previous notes. Rebecca. Second-generation Australian Sri Lankan woman who is deeply passionate about creating safe and inclusive environments for LGBTQIA+ and multicultural youth. A strong advocate for professional and the queer community in the sporting sector. Beck was the first chair of the AFL Pride and Allies group, with highlights of her experience including developing the first internal LGBTQIA+ inclusion training and creating safe sporting communities through the AFLW Pride Round. Rowan DeLacy, they kids. Rowan is a genderqueer part-time student and medical receptionist who lives for their peer work. They volunteer as a facilitator with Thorn Harbour Health, run a queer romance book club. I would like to know. And in his spare time, Rowan created the website TGD Indic. The website aims to centralise resources and information for trans and gender diverse people living in Victoria. Ryan Isaacs, he, him. Ryan is an economist and chartered accountant, making waves in Australia's decarbonisation and energy transition efforts. He has driven key projects in decarbonisation strategies and multi-billion-dollar renewable energy initiatives with Oricon. Ryan serves as a treasurer at Open Doors Youth Services and also co-founded Interfirm Brisbane and Interfirm Engineering, connecting top-tier professionals and services firms for a more inclusive environment. I would personally like an award for all the big words that I've had to write.
I'm very impressed with you, Lacey. I'll get you a drink later.
She knows me. Sean Tran, he is an engineer at BHP and serves as a co-lead of the LGBTQIA+ Inclusion and Allied Network. Sean champions LGBTQIA+ support within the resources industry and the Western Australia community, organising impactful events like Trans Day Visibility, Trans 101 training, and Drag Story Time. Sean's technical expertise drives safety, productivity, and cost improvements, while his openness inspires allyship and authentic leadership. Sita Sargent, she, her. Sita is a passionate advocate and storyteller living on Ngunnawal Ngambri land. In 2021, she founded She Shapes History, a social enterprise dedicated to sharing how women have shaped history in the places where they have shaped history. Makes sense. She Shapes History makes history accessible, entertaining, and engaging through walking tours, digital content, and special events. Before founding She Shapes History, Sita held leadership positions within several youth-led organisations. Thomas Granger, they, he. Tom is the TikTok creator engagement manager for Australia and New Zealand, as well as the North American Pride Partnerships campaign lead. They are the president of Pride at TikTok, and they manage the LGBTQIA+ program for the region. Tommy has been a drag entertainer for 8 years and uses his social platforms to drive awareness and support the LGBTQIA+ social issues. Tommy recently hosted the Pride Ball in Los Angeles alongside transgender icon Dominique Jackson and led the world's first global Pride Ambassador program for TikTok during Australian World Pride. Coincidentally, Tommy is slaying at the Drag Race Down Under finale tonight, but they have sent us a message. It says, they say, I am honoured to have even been nominated. The work so many individuals do across Australia to support the LGBTQIA+ community is often unrecognised or unsupported. And I want to say congratulations to everyone who puts our community front and centre in whatever it is they do. Last but certainly not least, we have Zhang Wang. Zhang is a seasoned strategist and initiative-driven professional with experience across public, private, and community sectors. Notably, his leadership shone brightly during the COVID-19 crisis as he spearheaded the initiative that provided support to international catering, particularly within the LGBTQIA+ community, with a special emphasis on the Chinese-speaking community. You can often find him championing this cause through various media platforms, including television and social media, while also devoting his time to volunteer work. That is our group of one more award.
This one goes to the one and only Lacey Jade Christie. It's a big one.
When I joined LK, I knew I was joining a group of weirdos just like me. Yes, love it. So another round of applause for our 30 under 30. They are joining a group of amazing people. That's five years of 30 under 30, and you are amongst a fantastic group of alumni. So now let me introduce our fantastic keynote speaker, Elvis Martin. Elvis is a youth leader who has managed to overcome very difficult circumstances and inspire many with his advocacy for social justice. Elvis is an international speaker addressing mental health, homelessness, family violence, and LGBTQIA+ community issues. Elvis is also one of our 2021 30 under 30 winners.
Thank you for having me. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners and pay my respect to elders past and present. And before I start, I just want to give a heads up that my story includes family violence, domestic violence, and reference to sexual assault. So if you want to step out, it's okay. Or if you feel triggered, you can access Beyond Blue and Lifeline and other services. I came to Australia as an international student at the age of 17. I'm half Indian and half Middle Eastern from Saudi Arabia. So grown up in Saudi Arabia. It's a very difficult country, to say the least. And so when I came to Australia, I wanted to study medicine. I was doing pre-medicine back home, and that's what I wanted to continue. But my father is like, no, I want you to be a businessman like me. I don't want you to study medicine. In Saudi Arabia, medicine is considered as usually we have female doctors, and he's like, I don't want you to do that. Coming from a country town or a country where very misogynistic, if that's the word, and so very close-minded, narrow-minded views. Came to Australia, started studying business. I hated it, and I didn't like it. Accounting and IT. I know there are some accounting winners here. No offense. And after coming, I started just exploring Australia, and I started learning more about Australia, and I just felt that freedom. Like I felt like I was living in a jail or prison, and eventually, after some time, I decided to tell my parents that two things that turned my life upside down. One, I told them I left the religion, which is just not acceptable in Saudi Arabia. Two, I told them I'm not straight. And I was so naive, I did in a very impulsive, like I just like, okay, they will be upset with me in 2 weeks, he'll be over, he'll get over it and things like that. But that was not the case. And from there, a lot of struggles, a lot of family violence, a lot of abuse, and to a point where he started, like my father is a very successful businessman in the city, and he started doing business with me. He started coming with deals with me. Okay, I'll give you 75% of my property. Come and marry a girl and we'll forget about it. So many deals, like he started just he's like, this is not good for the reputation of the family in the community. This is just not good. And then one day he called me and he said, he reported me to the Kingdom Council. He said, I have two options. One, I kill myself. He will say, everyone, I had an accident. Arabia and Saudi Arabian Council issued a letter saying that I should be killed in public in 24 hours of entering. On two counts, that's leaving the religion, going against the religion, and sexuality. It was difficult. I was very naive, 17 years old. I hated, I just like, you can't do anything. I'm far from you. And I was still in that mode. But he froze my bank account. I had a joint bank account where he used to fund my uni and living in Australia. And from there, from a very, from a very luxurious or just a place to sleep, apartment to sleeping on the street. And it was difficult. I didn't grow up like that. It was very difficult. And I was sleeping on Latrobe Street near Dockland, just behind Channel 7 if people are from Melbourne. And it was difficult. And to a point where, not because he told me, but I was an international student, so there was no support for me. And even I did not have the courage to ask for support. And I jumped in Dockland Harbour to take my life. And that's where I ended up on media and ended up in emergency for 6 months in recovery. And so that's where everything started to go wrong. And after that, had a very difficult time in the hospital with hospital staff not. So when I told them about everything, they just thought, it doesn't happen these days. It might be a thing of the past. And I told them, just go on Google and just check. It's still, even today, LGBTQIA community is not safe. It is a penalty in Saudi Arabia. And they didn't listen to me. They started communicating with my family because I was under 18. And they told me they're not talking there, like, that's fine. One day I come to know, and I felt really betrayed. And I felt that I'm locked in this place. Now I can't go, I can't run away. And they started communicating with my family with the help of interpreters, and they were putting me on the flight to send me back. And my family told me, we love him so much, he goes through mental health issues, he has psychosis, we'll look after him, just send him here. The hospital, and it's one of the big hospitals, they said, sure, we're going to send him back. And I am here today because of the senior psychiatrist in the team. He said, I just trust some things he's saying. Should we wait for the immigration to finish their investigations before we send him? And then I told them that I would like to sit in that meetings because they were having meetings every week. And I said, I would like to sit in that meeting and I would like to ask a few questions by myself. I just want to, and then they agreed on that, and I sit down with them in the meeting and I ask my father if that's okay, and I ask him questions that I know where that will make him angry and he will finally understand, and they will finally understand. So I asked him, is that okay if I marry a guy? Is that okay if I just be gay and not marry a girl? And that made him really angry, and he told the hospital to send me back, otherwise every single doctor is in threat. And I left the room saying good luck because you invited this. I told you many times not to contact them. It's just not. And the police, even the immigration told them not to do it. But they didn't listen. And from there, Australia, when the immigration got hold of the letter, they said that we have a duty of care, we can't send you back. And then on that grounds, I was given a citizenship. But it took a lot of months being locked up in the mental health facility because I was just not ready. Different culture, different country, and no friends, and it was just difficult. And that's where it took a long time in hospital, tried to take my life many times. Once I started to feel a bit better and was moved to Co-Health Youth Residential Rehab for depression and anxiety, that's where I co-founded Co-Health Youth Action Council, because I really wanted to change policies and laws where if young person doesn't feel safe, the hospital should not contact their family. Now it is passed by the Victorian government. It's a law that hospital cannot reach out to families if the young person is not nominate two people who are over 18. I'm surprised that it took so long for government and governments to understand that a lot of young people experience family violence, and it's not safe to go back in many cases. But I'm really happy, and then I sit on various different government boards and community service boards, and I go around talking about different things, why diversity is important, why diversity and inclusion is important. And so happy. I was reading all of your bios. Congratulations, and for your amazing work that you do. It is important. It's important for everyone, and especially people like me who had very different and difficult life than what Australia have to offer. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Elvis, and thank you for being so generous with your story. I think something that we've taken away from tonight is the power of storytelling is so important. Representation matters. It is now time for our top 5 category winners. And to provide an overview of the judging process, let me welcome Al North, For Australia's Victorian State Director.
Being a judge on this year's 30th has been an incredible privilege. We've had over 120 nominations, and from that we've had to select the best 30, and that's been an incredibly enjoyable experience. The calibre of the applicants have been so high, it's phenomenal. But it's also made it incredibly daunting. And once we selected the top 30, we then had to pick the special 5. And under the very fierce supervision of our 30 under 30 director Mitchell, the judge board came together to take their picks. The deliberations were strong, emotions were high. I was one of the nicer judges, but we all got there. And some of us, I'm going to mention Heather, were a little confused. Others, Laura, were a little overwhelmed. It was an incredible experience overall. And essentially, the top 5 that we've selected have demonstrated something truly exceptional across their careers, their education, or their working community. What they achieved in 2023 across the board has been truly outstanding, and they stand as a cut above the rest. To start off with, I'm going to invite my fellow judge, Isabel Elsenberg, to announce the winner of the Community Advocate Award.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel. I somehow had like an 8-word bio before, so that was great for the imposter syndrome, so thank you for hiring me. I'm an EA here at BCG, and I'm also the co-lead of Women in Pride in I was honoured to be a part of this year's judging panel and to announce this year's Community Advocate Award. This award recognises the exceptional contribution and advocacy of an individual that resulted in significant and tangible change for the LGBTQIA+ community. I'm not gonna lie, I'm literally puffed from 2 stairs. So the recipient for this year's award has dedicated the last few years to being a passionate and visible intersex advocate. Through their amazing community building work at AGA, mental health support work through AGA and Interlink, legislative reform in the ACT, and then media work to help spread awareness of intersex issues. They are paving the way for the intersex community during a time where intersex issues are still relatively unknown and underrepresented. So the Community Award goes to Mimi Hall.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Steph Lum and Vic Fraser for nominating me, and my parents, and Jess, my partner, and my manager and producer, and all of my backup dancers. But no, I think it's it's just incredible to be nominated for this and win this, and it's really nice to kind of stop and reflect on all of the work we do in the LGBTIQ+ community. Often we're fighting so hard that we forget to celebrate. So thank you out for Australia for organising this and celebrating such an amazing community. It's amazing to stand up and say that I'm intersex. I think I've come a long way because of the amazing intersex people in my life who made it safe for me to come out. But I think Australia as well has come a long way. When I found out I was intersex, I shared it with a very close friend of mine, and I said, Charlie, I'm going to say something. I said, I'm intersex. And he goes, you know what? I'm really intersex as well. I'm glad that Australians come away that we know what intersex is, and I think it is to do with a lot of the queer community advocating for each other and coming together. So really thank you to everyone for advocating for intersex voices. And I think, it's just really cool.
Congratulations again, Mimi. Hello everybody, my name is Brandy. I'm the Managing Legal Counsel for BCG, basically the lawyer, and I'm here tonight to ensure that everyone consumes responsibly. That's all from me tonight. So I have the pleasure tonight to present this year's Inclusion and Belonging Champion Award. This award recognises the outstanding efforts of an individual who supports underrepresented LGBTQIA+ groups at work, makes a tangible difference in their lives, and increases visibility or representation at work. The recipient for this year's award demonstrates tenacity and has shone light on a lesser-known group. He has effectively combined his leadership and advocacy skills to build a supportive environment for the Chinese LGBTQIA+ community, and in particular, students from abroad. The Inclusion and Belonging Champion Award tonight goes to Zan Huang.
I'm not ready for this, but as you can tell, I was an international student here. Do you have time to share a story?
Yeah.
So on the first day I got here, I booked a place while I was in China because it's a big Chinese community. And on the airplane, the landlord-to-be texted me, says the place has something and I can't live there. So when I landed, I got the message, I didn't know where to go. And so luckily I booked the shuttle service from the airport to the place actually somewhere in Dockland. And it was a sunny day and I didn't know what to do. I speak little English, or I have $200 on my pocket because the idea was open bank account and my family sent money to me. And all I could do was follow Google, walk to the city, and literally see anyone with Asian face says, can you speak Chinese? Yeah. And I got one lady, she said, yes, I can speak Chinese, and then we spoke Chinese, of course. Then I would tell the story in English. And she helped me So we found a place at her friend's place, actually the penthouse in Melbourne. And she gave me $500. She gave me $500 in cash. She's like, "I'll just have it." And all under 30 minutes, we like each other. And that's how I feel the Australian love. And I think the spring helped me to I took the spring and I shared it away to the. I'm originally from Wuhan, the most famous city in the world now. So I received a lot of kind of inquiry on my social media from the Chinese students, and that's how I feel like I need to give back. I believe that now the 29 or most of you here or all of you here actually have the spring in you and just support more people. And that's why I'm here tonight, I think. And again, sorry, when my friends congratulated me, I said, like, "Oh, congratulations for the 30 under 30. I was like, "Yes, but do you know the most difficult part in the world actually is being under 30. Well, I know it's a funny joke, but I want to say it actually also shows how important it is to support young LGBTQIA plus people. And we need the support so we can step up. That's a shoulder you just mentioned. So we can step up and we can support more of us. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Zan. My name is Laura Faulkner, Queensland Regional Coordinator at For Australia, or otherwise known as the Overwhelmed Judge. I tried to think of a witty comeback, but honestly, I was like, it's just true. So this year, there were numerous strong regional candidates doing great work for their communities. It was extremely difficult to choose one winner. In fact, I changed my mind several times. The winner has not only done incredible work advocating for the LGBTQIA plus people in her community, but has also started initiatives in her community, such as a youth group for LGBTQIA plus teens. And with that, I'm very proud to announce the winner of the Regional Legend Award is Bianca Ludwig.
Okay, hi. I just wanted to say that I'm so incredibly honoured to be here in a room with so many incredible and amazing people who are doing so many amazing things. Sorry, this isn't me being emotional. I lost my voice a few days ago. I just want to thank a few people as well. I want to thank Vicky at the Curious Rabbit, who has supported me in every step of the way, my parents, my family, of course. And then also this award is for every single one of the, every single kid who has come and joined my space and has felt comfortable. This award is for them. They have my heart. And I really hope that as a young person, growing up in regional country Australia, like going through high school and stuff, I think we can all relate in some aspects how alone and isolating it can feel, and especially like when you're not in a city or not in a space where you can visibly see other people. It is so hard. And so I really hope that other regional communities can also take initiative as well, because these kids, it's so important that they see someone, can interact with someone, can be like, yeah, I don't know, I'm very nervous. So I think I'm gonna wrap up.
Congratulations again to Bianca. The Rising Star Award recognises the exceptional success of an LGBTQIA person in their career or industry. From the start, this nominee stood out from the rest. An artist activist, they're an industry trailblazer who finds every opportunity to advocate for others in their community and amplify their voices. In their own words, their work is a fuck you to the colonial patriarchy. The Rising Star Award goes to Busy Lavelle.
This does mean a lot because I am like a really emotional person. So sometimes when I advocate, I feel like I get really, really angry and then I get painted that way. So it feels good to like know that people give a shit. I really quickly just wanted to like rattle off a few thank yous. Thank you to my bestest friend Ash who came here with me. Thank you to my partner in crime, Talia Novella, who created Point of Change and let me like join in on that. And thank you to my older sister who comes to like literally every gig of mine. I just wanted to say like our anger is tangible and powerful, but so is our love and our joy. And I think it's important, especially in nights like this, for us to relish in those moments because outside there's obviously really horrendous shit happening all the time. Like Channel 7 is just like words. But it's really special and important for us to have those moments where we're together and we're in community and like just share this power and love that we have together. And lastly, I just wanted to say that if you think that being queer is like not something that Indigenous or First Nations peoples of the world, anywhere across the world, haven't done, then you have been successfully colonized. The binary is colonial as fuck. Let's just
Congratulations again, Busy, and the rest of our awardees and category winners. My name's Heather Preston. I'm the Deputy CEO at For Australia and the Confused Judge. I think that is because I really struggled to decide who I thought deserved the category winners because I think you're all amazing. And my opinion was swayed with every sort of debate that we had. So, yeah, I think you're all amazing. But now for the last award of the evening, which is the Standout Student Award, which recognises the significant contribution of a current or recently graduated student in academic achievement or increasing visibility of or improving the lives of LGBTQIA+ students. This nominee has an incredibly impressive list of academic achievements, so many that I couldn't really choose a few to spit out, and is actively giving back to the next generation of scientists through a wide range of channels and activities, one of which my daughter, who helped me with the judging process, is now following on Instagram, Sharks and Science. So without further ado, I'm excited to announce that the Standout Student Award goes to Adrian Gooden.
Hi. Wow, this means so much. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me here and to be among so many amazing young people. It's yeah, pretty special. I feel like as a shark scientist, I should share a joke. So why did the shark blush? Why? Because it saw the ocean's bottom. That's all, thank you.
I knew. You're the first person I called out, and I knew. Excuse me while I shuffle through my notes because we have a last minute addition that I would like to announce. Thank God for alphabetical order.
Also, how great the flights that arrive on time.
Woo.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. So thanks to Jetstar, we have a late arrival. I would like to present to you Michelle Hock. She, her. Michelle is a proud, culturally diverse transgender woman working within the South Australia Department of Infrastructure and Transport. Come on up. At Evie's Disco Diner from 10 p.m. Don't get there earlier, we won't be there. Before we go, I want to say a few words and how you can get involved with Out for Australia. If you want to help foster new role models in the LGBTQIA+ community, you can sign up to the Out for Australia mentoring program, connecting young LGBTQIA+ people and those looking to change careers with more established LGBTQIA+ professionals so they can learn from and inspire each other. If you're a young queer student or perhaps someone looking for a career change, you can be a mentee in the program. Or if you're a more established professional, whether LGBTQIA+ or an ally, you can become someone's mentor. The best thing is that it's currently free to take part due to OFA's generous sponsors. So thank you to them. Also, you can be a volunteer. It's not in my script, but as a previous volunteer myself, I can vouch for how awesome it is, and maybe in 5 years you can be on the stage. Finally, I would like to thank our generous major sponsor, BCG, and to our category sponsors, Accenture, Canva, Goldman Sachs, and Workday. Please join me one last time in congratulating our 30 out of 30 class of 2003. Yeah. Is that all what I said? We're all blown away by the work you are doing in the LGBTQIA+ community, and we thank you so much. Thank you to all of you online. It is now when we cut the feed. And all of you can join us in the next room for our little drinks afterwards and at the after party. So good night until next year. And to close us out, I would like to welcome Awadi back to the stage for a little rap.
Bitch, I'm at dog. Yo, he a great day. He a different breed, bitch. I don't know his name. You hoes and frogs. Tryna make some bacon. That man ain't got no cheese. He a vegan on a plate. If he ain't got no cheddar, just leave him where he came. If you can't do no better, just stay in your own lane. If you know you a better, just leave him where he came. Girl, leave him where he came. Come on, leave him where he came. I'm at a dog, bro. And yeah, he might be your ex. Slid into my DM, so I call him DMX. Yeah, he made that boom clap, so I call him X, yes. He know how to ride it, vroom, vroom, BMX. I do make him do a twirl, make him do a handstand, make him do a kick, touch my Louis bag. Diamonds on my nightstand, diamonds on my right hand. Girl, his ass so fat, I can smack it with my right hand. You could be my right hand. I employ these hoes, and you could be the right man. That's no need to go now. He can't even write, man. I'm about to read this bitch like I'm reading in this verse that man is gone. Yeah, he a great day. He a different breed, bitch. I don't know his name. With the hoes, kiss and frog. Try to make some bank. But that man ain't got no cheese. He a vegan on a plate. And he ain't got no cheddar. Bitch, then leave him where he can. If you can't do no better, bitch, then stay in your own lane. If you know you were better, bitch, then leave him where he came. Girl, leave him where he came. Come on, leave him where he came. You know that you stayed the night and you ain't never came. Girl, I'll send the Uber. You can stay over my place, my man a dog. You a day, you need a talk, you can stay. Where I'm from, it's all the same. My man is by, he goes both ways. You going home with a smile on your face. And I promise the next day, you gon' be calling like, damn, babe, my man a dog. Yeah, he a great day. I could be his bitch, he could call me by his name. I just need that dick before I go insane, cause I'll go crazy on the dick. I'm about to lose my brain, my man a dog. And if he cheat, he gets paid. I'm gonna investigate the dick. I'll grab him by the dick. I'ma call him his ball and hang it in the glass case. My man a dog, 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 bitch. D-O-G, he a dog, sniff. I would like to apologize for the moaning climax. It is what it is. I warned y'all earlier in the show. Y'all could have left. It is what it is. This next piece is called Potions. DJ, pump the beat. Whenever. Boom. Now this is a little love song for when you're a little bit drunk in love. When you're at that club, you're at that bar, you meet that special someone, and you just want to drink them up. This is Potion.